jungle, but Sejuani is up and available. Both of these junglers very proficient on that. JDG, what's your answer? I have to imagine that you're going to lock in that Xayah. That was so important for the rest of this series. The hovering it, not locked in just now. And when you come to this Game 5, again, every single game has had a different draft attempt on it. It's been back and forth. You can see the adaptation, and it will be the split up of the Jayce and that Xayah.
The Xayah, I think, for Ruler has been so clutch. And I think the fact that we've seen him able to pilot this one in so many pressureful moments, it is something that JDG can rely on in a game number 5. Everything comes down to this one, and Sejuani will be given yet again to Kanavi.
I like this a lot. It stops it being hammered down with that Jayce in the mid lane, particularly with the Maokai off the table. Sejuani as a tank engaged jungler can help Jayce again, kind of find those kills and keep him safe. Zika on the top side gets that Ksante that will protect them against something like the Renekton, but this is a pick we haven't seen in finals. Gala's Ziggs is going to come out. Knight hovering that champion. It is a melee synergy with the with the Sejuani. He's hovering through. He's giving us a lot to get excited about. We've got a champion of renown for Gala from this summer. Is Knight going to match it?
Knight was so confident in his words against Scout. You might be the regular season MVP 2 times in a row, but I will not let you break this team of JDG. It is the Neeko that makes it on through. So,
Knight going to pick up the champion, which Scout lost on in Game 1 in the same matchup.
Yep.
When you are playing against the Jayce as the Neeko, you need to close that distance. You need to get beyond those tanks, which tend to shield them, and get those kills in the big team fight. Much like Game 1, but with the flipped team compositions, JDG already with the Sejuani and the Neeko need to get on top of the Jayce and the Ziggs.
I like the Leona ban from JDG as well. I could actually expect maybe a Nautilus to join that one as well. Just take away all those engage tools from Hung. But on the other side, we get that classic ban towards 369 of the Ornn. We'll see what these final bans are going to end up being.
LNG are going to face 2 problems here. They're going to have a couple of the premier engage supports gone, and even with that, well, Trundle being banned, that's one of the old counters is Sejuani, of course.
Yeah.
But even with that, if you're going to engage onto the backline, you're going to have to do that into a Xayah ult. It's not the same as the Varus we saw earlier in the series, where once the Flash and the Cleanse are down, you kill them for free, pretty much. Ruler will have that extra degree of safety, which means that even with the double long range of the Jayce Ziggs, there's another hurdle of execution to overcome to kill the backline.
Wondering now, obviously LNG taking a lot of time here to make sure that they can actually find some good bans. It is the Nautilus that gets banned away by LNG, so not wanting to give over some more engage to JDG as a team. It is some big picks still left on the table, and I would wonder, okay, 369, bringing out the Renekton!
Sejuani Renekton combination, incredibly high kill threat if you leave yourself open to a topside early gank, that permafrost and the Cola Meat, so much CC and damage there. This will be one of the last remaining hard CC picks, which could go into that support role. Of course, could technically go into the jungle as well. You're going to have to lock in both in this rotation from LNG. What's that pick alongside it? What are they feeling like? You've got to have engage enough to combo up with the Ziggs and the Jayce, allow you to lock down targets so those skill shots are point and click. And as Lillia ultimate will add into that. We started off the day talking about unorthodox jungle champion pools, but we were talking about that largely from Kanavi's side. Lillia for Tarzan in Game 5 for the LPL Finals.
All right. The Melio has made it through for the first time of this series. Is that what Missing wants to lock in? But the Lillia for Tarzan, the new jungle king, it feels like, of the LPL, will be a pivotal moment for LNG. It is the Alistar comfort coming back in for Missing.
The 4th game of it in this series for Missing. Took the game off in the last one to head towards the Braum, back towards the Cow in that support role. Very important job for Missing. He has to try and soak some of these shock blasts and these engages if at all possible. And particularly, he can pop that ult when that Lillia ult comes in, cleanse himself, and potentially stop a follow-up engage coming through. Very different compositions yet again. We have had 5 different games of different thematic drafts from each of these teams. It hasn't been one team sticking to one style. They've been trying to flex their variety of compositions.
And you hear those Silver Scrapes playing yet again in your ears. It could not come down to it. Nothing else matters. It is League of Legends at its finest. And it's our best doing what they do best. Game 5 starts now! As we get into it now, Kanavi on this Sejuani will be so pivotal earlier on as well. The fact that we have the Sejuani taken away from Tarzan, but Tarzan also taking away Kanavi's picking the Lillia. We're trading places here, it feels like, in a game number 5.
Tarzan, what a different pick to bring out at this point. It's another kind of CC threat to help the Shock Blast and the Ziggs skill shots land later into the game. Of course, Lillia is a champion which is very famous for being able to be on that first clear so very quickly. One of these AP junglers looks to invade into the enemy Raptors. That's something which Kanavi would like to defend against him, and Knight will have to be on the same page to stop Tarzan from really getting ahead of this game on the Lillia.
Love to see the Jayce also come through for Scout. It has been such a pivotal pick for him as a whole for Knight too. I do want to take a look though. We have those opposite side starts at least coming through for both junglers, switching it up a little bit from the opposite side that we had the last couple times around. But it is still looking at that early proactivity for both sides. We don't have any double marksman comps this time around. We have a lot of siege potential on the side of LNG.
Particularly interested to see what happens in this bot lane. Someone like a Ziggs can struggle if you take one bad trade, but has a surprisingly large amount of burst damage, particularly with that fast fuse passive. If you manage to kind of get a good auto attack off, reset that cooldown by throwing out all of your basic abilities, the double reset on that passive effectively can be really, really high damage. Gala has shown that he can be strong in lane with this champion, which typically doesn't thrive there.
And I think this top lane, even though we can talk about Kanavi, Tarzan, we can talk about Scout, Knight, we can talk about Gala, Ruler, this top lane actually has been really interesting to me. We actually have an adaptation here. We've been talking about the changes in each game, but 369 on the Renekton actually has a lot of influence in this game.
He absolutely does. Of course, he's comboed up with that Sejuani. That'll help. And in this kind of game, too, he needs to try and pull ahead of the game because the whole idea of LNG's composition is to absolutely explode the squishy targets. If 369 gets ahead of the game, he won't be squishy. He's going to be very, very annoying to take off the board, and he can stand in between LNG and their target and hopefully threaten those same artillery pieces as well.
We'll see the early pushes coming through, at least from Knight on this Neeko, as should be done. Should be trying to pressure as much as possible into this 1v1 matchup because I do want to see the connection between Kanavi and Knight come really alive this time around with the Neeko, because we've seen Neekos throughout the LPL. It's been actually very interesting the amount of times we've seen Scout on the Neeko and a lot of the flanks that he's been able to pull off, but it's going to be so crucial for Knight to find those angles this time.
We talked about exactly the same stuff for Scout in game 1. So can Knight one-up him? Can he do it yet again? He's done it in so many series over so many different years, different teams, different faces. Scout has lost to Knight an awful lot of times, but it doesn't matter if he walks away with this game. Doesn't matter at all.
Again, LNG have not beaten JDG since 2021 summer. JDG have not lost a best of this year. It is a lot going either way. JDG with a lot of the fate on their side, but LNG trying to upend that as our 3rd seed from hell.
Getting back in towards this game, though, one of the interesting things, I suppose, from this draft, a little bit of a funny coincidence. Talked about Lillia being great at stealing Raptors. Not really going to get the ability to do that if mid lane's pushed in, and of course, you got the Renekton pushing in towards top lane as well. So Tarzan not going to get that kind of free extra camp a lot of the time. You leave that alone for like a couple of seconds, suddenly it's just eaten up.
Yep.
Raptor popcorn chicken taken away. Zika going to take a...
Popcorn chicken?
I know, it's great. It's a great little snack. Probably not the healthiest thing, but it gets you a lot of gold in pocket and gets you a little bit ahead of the game.
And speaking of, they actually will spot out Tarzan trying to path up towards this top side. We'll end up getting that early vision actually meaning a lot for JDG in terms of trying to play a little bit more safely around the top side.
But this is what pushing lanes get you from JDG. Because the Renekton and the Neeko both won their early lanes, it gives the entire top side of the map some free reign to be able to get something in terms of vision towards that enemy jungle. You see that right now, 369 is beyond enemy turret. He's contesting this, and Tarzan has to back away from the Grom. Might have to, I mean, he has Smite up right now, but without it being upgraded, doesn't have the damage to finish that one off. Delays the Lillia a little bit.
And the thing about the Lillia is the quick clear speed, but that's also true on the Sejuani side of things because you have such skirmishing potential earlier on. I am wondering how kind of that early proactivity around the objectives comes down. We do have our first dragon, and we've seen literally those timers in the top left and right. Those are literally fight timers, it feels like, in this best of.
Tarzan didn't actually manage to take that top Gromp. Now Knight's trying to stale away something as well. So the Lillia being put behind a little bit. Some of those mini Raptors taken by Knight at that point. JDG as a whole team effort, keeping Tarzan in his jungle, keeping him away from the river. First dragon easily taken with the laning priority from JDG.
That's something that you'll love to see if you're looking at a lot of the strengths for JDG. Just getting some early stacking, getting Ruler to a place of confidence is going to be so key for them moving forward. Do wonder how these trades do come down, though, because we have seen that LNG are kind of willing to give over some of these objectives to JDG to find promise elsewhere. Knight got ulti, though. Pop Blossom comes down. Got to be really careful for Scout there. He didn't burn the flash, though, staying calm, cool, and collected.
He is going to be pushed out of lane, which is, again, another thorn in the side of LNG. Tarzan's been kept in his own side of the jungle. Scout's been kept under his tower for so long as well. He's now 20 CS down. Yes, there's a crashed wave, so he's going to get a little bit back up and towards that point, more towards that 10 CS mark. But Knight, Kanavi, and the rest of the team doing very well to stop LNG from taking flight.
Wondering exactly how they find that flight. It is going to have to be around Gala, getting a lot of siege potential in the side lanes, finding that early gold if possible, and just trying to get as many plays, because that's the style, right? You have an APC who will be very strong in the late game, has a lot of spacing tools as well, but if you can get that early advantage there, get some laning priority going, and take down those turrets, at least get some plates for him, it'll be huge for a guy who is also just so huge for LNG.
Yeah, so JDG, they can't really afford to make big mistakes. If you do that suddenly, you know, the satchel on tower from Ziggs takes the tower down much quicker than you give it credit for. Someone like Jayce as well with Hypercharger can do a lot of tower damage. So JDG, they need to keep up the quality of early game they've done so far, make sure that LNG don't get themselves angles into this game, as you said, to allow Gala and the carries to come online.
Yeah, actually early flash from Ruler there, the Mega Inferno Bomb coming out as well, just knowing what was coming and maybe playing a little bit of that 4D chess. Kanavi up here in the alcove will be trying to get this fight going with 369 if Zika steps up at all, but Zika playing even more reserved now that he knows there could be some pressure up there.
Our first resets of the game coming
through. That's the flash. That's huge. That's big. And that's 369 with the thumbs up kill. First blood, JDG.
Sejuani Renekton, everyone. That is a top laner's nightmare. Ksante, one of the better champions, is surviving it. But you can see how that worked out here. It's a plate. It's a kill. Ruler doesn't have flash or level 6 in this bot side.
You got to be a little bit careful, though. Missing does have his health bar going down a little bit low. Hung is the one that's getting aggressed on by Ruler. And you got to be careful there. Flash coming out from Hung.
Ruler turns around some good damage, but he doesn't have the flash to follow up that kill. JDG strike first towards this top side, and it has been so oppressive from their side. At least LNG find a little bit of something towards bot side, but it's not enough right now.
And this man, Ruler on the Xayah, he has been so clutch in so many moments. Again, creating this legacy in the LPL since his fandom and his craziness over in the LCK. It has been a new chapter in the book, but it has been an impressive one at that.
So Herald has spawned. We were talking about JDG's topside priority so far, but they haven't managed to hold on to that long enough to deny a Herald as well. Kanavi instead focusing on some jungle advantage, getting away a Raptor steal, maybe feeling like they didn't have the tools to fight towards topside. I'm a little bit surprised at that myself, but
JDG. There's your popcorn chicken again.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice again. They're going to keep Kanavi well fed, and again, keep Tarzan behind an individual gold if nothing else.
We're going to look at a lot of pressure from JDG down towards this bottom side. Going to be taking away this red buff as well. We'll see if they want to collapse on bottom lane, though, if Hung and Gala can play pretty safe.
Kanavi doesn't have his ult right now, so they can't push the go button as hard as they'd like to. Tarzan has walked in towards enemy Raptors again. We say Lillia very strong at taking those, so it's some gold back. Herald in pocket as well. Need to be very careful now, JDG. If they lose a fight at some point while that Herald is still in inventory, just expect one of these towers to explode and the place to go along with it.
So I feel like there's a lot more stability and a little bit lower of a bar of execution for JDG when we're getting into these team fights. They just have to find access to the back line, find Knight getting some big flanks, but Ruler is going to have a lot of safety in that. The other side for LNG, they've got a lot of poke, but they're going to have to layer that in there with either the sleep or a big engage from Hung or Zika.
No, the real stars of the show for LNG are not the people doing the damage, it's the people doing the CC. It's on Tarzan, Hung, and Zika to get the CC down so the skill shots aren't skill shots. You put them onto the back line and then suddenly carries are gone for JDG. So really watch out for the Rell. I think Hung has a huge barrier of execution himself. It's going to be a little bit difficult because Alistar at some points can just punt you out of the fight. It's not as much of a hard counter as it was before the Rell rework because, of course, you crash down with everything. It's all of your kit. Now you can play some flash stuns from your Q and get a little bit more guaranteed engage, but still, nonetheless, missing can be the big blocker for Hung.
They have a big push going down here on the Ruler, or with Ruler down here. It does get the Mega Inferno Bomb, try to clear that one up. They actually had some nice hovering from Missing and Kanavi there as well. We do have a Dragon in about 25 seconds, and with the priority on bot side, this should be JDG's.
Should be, but again, just keep an eye on that Herald. LG have that in pocket, they can throw that wherever. Tarzan He's not heading towards the bot side of the map. I think that's importantly so. Kanavi has himself his ult again. They can force the play wherever he is on the map, and with the vision into the enemy jungle, as the observers are showing us right now, LNG, they need to be very respectful of the next play to come out of JDG.
We got the Rod of Ages there for Tarzan completed first. We got some first item completions as well coming up clutch. We got JDG, though, taking that second dragon for themselves.
It's, I think in this case, because Tarzan needs to be kind of doing the CC rather than doing the carrying, the Rod of Ages, the extra HP makes some sense. He's heading towards top side now.
Can he get the all out here? It does put 369 in an awkward position, has the slice and dice, but you've got actually Tarzan going around the other way. 369 realizes he is not where he needs to be, and it's 4 members of LNG who will strike down the Crocodile.
Takes him a while, but at the end of the day, it's a 4v1, and that's not something which 369 can outplay. So suddenly, you've got this Herald towards top side. The Ziggs not on the same side of the map, so it's not going to be a Herald charge with the Satchel on top of it, but with this amount of people towards it, JDG, they still want to defend.
We got TP coming in now as well. Nice little engage with that Glacial Prison, and the re-follow-up by missing. That'll be the quick flash by Tarzan to get him out.
That does mean that it's going to be not as many plates picked up as it could have been. You can't really shepherd in that Herald towards that top lane turret. LNG, they'll at least get some value from that neutral objective they took.
And now actually seeing a little bit of that proactivity from both sides, I do want to check in now as well. We were getting that Thorn Mail completed first for Zika, but my biggest thought process in this whole thing, bot lane has been untouched, and we've seen in the past, if you do not focus Ruler, he can become such a pivotal moment for JDG.
I mean, that's true and all, but again, he's still playing him against this Ziggs, who'll do so much damage. Scout has to be very respectful towards that, flashes out early. But as much as we talk about Ruler, I mean, it's not like Gala won't have agency in this game. Sometimes that Ziggs can suffer in the laning phase, but is up CS right now, has a first item completed, and is so core when that CC comes down from LNG that it's not like LNG don't have anything to play towards that.
I'm looking forward to them utilizing this siege potential. Also, the Satchel will be available for Gala to take this turret. And we're right back to normalcy. Last game, JDG got first turret, but, you know, this time around, LNG right back to graces. We'll be slowly burning this one down. We'll get all 5 plates in that top lane, too. And he'll get the first turret bonus. He's making sure that more minions die to that turret. And now this is an issue. LNG, they managed to get a huge amount of gold onto the big damage threat of the composition in this Ziggs. A lot of gold on top of that. If the CC lands, that again, the skill shots aren't skill shots. JDG need to be very, very careful about how they approach fights. I'm really looking at the cooldowns for Ruler. Anytime those are up, if Knight's up, he's got the defensive tools. I think that makes it a little bit more difficult for LNG, but the timing has been key, and it feels like Tarzan was able to try to bring some of that into the fold in game number 4. See if that can happen in game 5 here as well. Scout did just complete his Duskblade though, so we do have those first item spikes for everyone pretty much coming up here. And another Rift Herald in about a minute. Of course, JDG sat on 2 dragons in terms of the other neutral objectives on the board, but it's a Chemtech Soul. It's not the greatest thing ever. There are some edge cases where maybe it saves one of the carries' lives as they get burst out, but if the damage is happening while you're over half HP, Chemtech Soul doesn't do anything for you. It only gives you damage reduction when you're below that point. So LNG, I think they're really happy with the Soul that was rolled this game. The amount of siege that they have, the amount of range that they have here with Scout and Gala together. I look to put some poke down. Doesn't do too much early on here, but as that damage starts racking up, that'll be even more detrimental to the health. Yeah, give it an item. Give it an item. Give it another item and a half, maybe. Suddenly that's a dead Xayah. Ruler, he has to, he's got a hard job keeping himself safe in this game. It's really on his team to make sure that he doesn't have to tank up all of those skill shots possible. Back into this mid lane now. As you said, Herald coming up. You still have that Ziggs. It's still going to be very difficult to defend towers if that Herald is taken. JDG, I would really suggest to them that they want to contest this. Tarzan already starting that one up. We got Kanavi right around the corner here as well. Level 11 just got hit for Zika. He does have TP. He's looking to get that back off first and try to get back into the fight potentially if they do want to contest this. Knight. He found Gala and the Glacial Prison on the backside. I don't know if they can get him. That Satchel charge was so big. The TP coming in now. Mega Inferno Bomb goes wide. JDG try to strike, but they can't find him. That is so close to taking down that Ziggs, who has so much of that gold. It will, however, still by JDG the Herald. I think that's a very big win for them. We talked about how difficult it is to defend against Ziggs. Herald pushes. So, important neutral objective victory for JDG. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to reset in time for this dragon, or at least get themselves the vision control around it. Just wondering now exactly how they get this control around this now, because I do see the reset coming out from Ruler as well. See if they can get back down to the bottom. Kanavi's already on the way there, and you're wondering if that 20 minutes, or 20 seconds rather, is going to be enough. We see actually Tarzan taking some heavy trades on a 369 there, but LNG will be here first.
It will be, and they don't have themselves the Mega Inferno Bomb. Of course, that's a big cooldown for them. They do have themselves that Lilting Lullaby from Tarzan, though. We've not really talked about the Lillia too much in regards to these fights. It's not really that time yet. Maybe we'll see what happens around the second item. Maybe when the Demonic Embrace comes through, have to expect that comes in at some point in this build. Tarzan, another part of this composition, which could be another engaged threat.
Get that big 5-man Lilting Lullaby would be really nice. Give up your life for that engage, though. But it is still Knight able to take down some objectives in the side lane. Gets a turret for JDG, first one of the game for them. But this will be Tarzan taking LNG's first dragon of the game, too.
Top side of the map is very open now with both top lane outer turrets being down. None of the other towers touched on that side of the map, but the more that tends to happen, the more, of course, Vision can start to sneak into the enemy jungle. You can see a couple of wards put down by JDG. It's probably more important for them than it is for LNG. If they manage to get that Vision, then maybe Knight can get one of those big engaged players in. Again, almost did it through the lane with the minion play. Sometimes you can still catch those pros off guard.
It's something that you never think of until it's too late.
Count the minions, man. Gotta count the
Just
minions.
gotta count the minions. We've seen Neeko. Everybody's ready to count here in this one for sure. I do want to say, though, actually, the vision control from JDG has been really good. Being able to spot out the kind of pathing that Tarzan's been taking with all those aggressive advances you can make with the Lillia has been really clutch to keeping this advantage very, very close-knit between the two. Now, we do have Kanavi back on the map. Does have the Rift Herald available to him. Could be looking to respond in mid lane, maybe give a little bit of gold to Ruler as well.
Going into a larger map again, playing those side lanes. Does feel like with the longer lanes, JDG maybe have themselves more options. It's much easier for them to force plays. They have themselves the Sejuani ult, which can fly in from way off screen. Missing is caught on this mid-vision line as well. He's over the wall, he has flash, there's a chance of an engage coming through.
Just wondering if they can actually find that level engage. We get the charge coming through. Will be denied any more damage on that turret. And the defense is there. That wave clear from LNG is something to be dealt with.
It is still, however, a big chunk out onto that mid lane outer turret. So if LNG leave that unattended, JDG can take that one for free. That's the Herald value coming in from JDG, the one which they fought so hard for at that point. They didn't get any kills, but getting that objective still important to them. Slowed down yet again. Hungs towards topside now, though.
A little bit of a weird Pop Blossom engage here, trying to get over to this turret, but it's Scout, and actually, they might... Oh, okay, he doesn't get him in the end. Knight just goes down to Scout, and 2-0 for the Jayce of this mid lane of LNG.
Okay, is this going to cost them anything in the mid lane? No, it's not. So LNG, they get themselves a completely free play towards the top side of the map at a point where we're saying, hey, you know, JDG, they have the ability to force the play. Hung beats him to the punch, gets that kill onto Knight.
And I think that being so crucial of a factor. Again, Knight so confident in his takedown of Scout, talking about it, you know, you might be the regular season MVP, that doesn't mean anything to me. And the fact that we actually get to see some of this proactivity, yeah, unfortunate there, just a little bit out of that vision.
Sucks. So a couple of pixels off being able to spot that Rell towards that top side, catches Knight off guard, finds himself in a 2v1, unfortunately for him. Goes down for that play, more gold into that Jayce. That's a scary thing, especially given the quality of Scout's Jayce.
It has been so incredible. Honestly, the Jayce for both these two guys, right? There's a reason why it's been banned away so much in the series, but now we get a little bit of skirmishing coming through.
369 is charging his rage. He's going in.
He's got it. And Tarzan's going to flash out there as well. The Glacial Prison does get utilized. Zika, though, with the all-out. That means 369 needs to be a little bit careful. Does have the healing back. Gets stunned down. Mega Inferno Bomb there as well. Doesn't get the Q3, but the TP is now coming in from Knight. He wants to try to get an influence here, but Tarzan getting run down by JDG. He has that speed coming out of him from the Lillia, and LNG make it away, licking their wounds.
Lillia's just too fast. At the start of that play, you look at 369 and charging up his rage, and LNG, they put a lot of cooldowns into him. Maybe not the best target they could do so, but they still nearly take him down. It's a lot of very close team fight. Well, it's not even really a team fight. It feels like it's just a skirmish which evolves over time, but LNG not able to capitalize. JDG still finding it hard to go on the board, though.
And I think that's a crucial factor. We've seen both teams really being willing to take punches, take blows in this best of, right? And this is a situation where we have so much track record going into it, but it is a best of 5 that comes down to one game, right? This is all that matters. Any catch-outs, any mistakes, you will be thinking about that for a long time to come. I think that we get this adaptation, we get another Dragon coming in about 50 seconds, maybe taking priority for JDG to get to Soul Point.
That player gold is not good signs for JDG. Those champions are going to do an awful lot of damage from an awfully long range away. Baron being started, well, rather being spawned, rather, changes the dynamic of things, though. If you commit to one side of the map a little too heavily, there's every chance that Baron gets started with stuff like the Lillia being in the game. Has a lot more Baron DPS than someone like a Sejuani can do on the other side. JDG, they cannot afford to let that Baron go off of vision.
Get the full reset actually coming out from JDG here as well. They will be back on the map with a Navori Quick Blade there, second item completed for Ruler as well.
Dragon spawning in 10 seconds. Those items, as you were talking about, may come to be very, very useful very soon. But LNG, they're on the bot side of the map first. They get themselves the vision control first. JDG have no deep vision. They don't have something like a teleport on Knight anyway to make the most of it, but they're still angling for this fight. LNG, if they get to close the doors in front of them and play front to back, this is a really good moment for them.
There's 3 Poros here. Nymaera, I don't know what to do. JDG going to pull the Dragon out as well. LNG a little bit hesitant to get into the pit, but JDG, they know where they need to go. They take this Dragon started, and it's already about half health, a little bit lower, missing, able to block away, and the Dragon goes over to JDG. Scout finds the flank. That's the double knockup, and the big pulverize. I don't know if they can get the damage down. Look at Ruler putting the feathers into the backs of LNG. Zika gets out alive. Tarzan's still there to poke down some damage, but my God, what a flank from Knight.
Knight gets the angle onto Gala. The Ziggs with the gold gets to use none of it. And with these kills onto the Ziggs and onto the Rell, they're going towards the Baron. LNG, if they couldn't win against the Dragon with a 5v5, what can they do with the Baron with 2 people dead?
I don't know if they can even contest this at this point. Tarzan's just going to try to find a Miracle Steal, but missing is able to headbutt him away, see if that cooldown comes up fast enough. LNG do not want to give this up. This gives so much power to JDG, but there's nothing they can do about it.
It is daylight robbery from Jingdong Gaming. It's a Dragon fight gone awry for LNG, and suddenly it's an objective into the favor of JDG. It's the Baron afterwards beyond that point. And now you have to play this siege, long-range poke competition against the powered-up minions. That is disaster in Game 5.
Oh. They actually saw Scout over here. Scout being greedy. Oh no, the Dominus is popped. He does have the flash. He'll probably have to burn that one, and he does indeed. They're going to follow maybe. The crash down just there in case Hung able to be the bodyguard of Scout.
So teleport for Flash in that case, but still, Flash away from one of those carries you need to reach from JDG. They'll take that every day of the week, and they'll take it in a Game 5, which could send them one step further on that golden road. Again, it's so hard to forget the weight of this series. LNG pushed this to 5 games. JDG had to fight from 2-1 back. This is how they found their advantage in this game, though. Knights off of vision. That is the Neeko play you're looking for.
It's incredible and decisive from JDG. And I know you were talking a little bit about the narratives coming to this one, but again, these are demons to LNG. They have not beaten them in years. And they are just trying to hold some sort of value, some sort of candle to the demons here in game number 5. That is JDG on the front foot with a bit of a lead, but a lot of confidence in their play.
This is another big problem for them now, too. You know that big chunk taken out of mid lane turret earlier? It's going to lead to the full turret going down right now. Ruler takes down that one easily. Slight gold lead for JDG, but honestly, beyond just the gold, it's more about the control. JDG, they're on the other side of the map, they're pushing in lanes, and they have the Sejuani ready to go again. LNG, they would love to be pushing in lanes with Jayce and with Ziggs, but they can't do that against Baron.
I will say, though, third item was completed for Scout. You see how much damage he can do to even missing, who, yes, is a couple items behind, but it is the strength of this 3-item spike for Scout that I look for LNG to capitalize on.
Singh has himself the ult. Is he going to use it now?
You're going to have to flash out early there. You do get some good poke damage from Scout, though, on the back end of it. Some sieging from JDG. They're trying to take down mid and bot here as they're spreading out LNG a little bit. The Lilting Lullaby is coming down. Every combo there. Boom! Straight to Knight.
Pop goes the Neeko. No ability to defend against that one. No stopwatch, no cleanse, no HP bar. Tarzan on the Lillia. Haven't had to see much of him from this game. He's struggled to have an impact. The fight happened too fast around that Dragon last time, but in the split play, uses that flash, it's going to be the end of the Baron push with that kill from JDG. But without that flash on Lillia, I wonder if that's too high of a cost. You don't have that same reliable way to get a flash Q into ult from Tarzan now if a group fight starts to emerge.
I think Tarzan is still such a pivotal piece here. We're going to take a look back at this replay as well, and Tarzan catching out Knight.
Yeah, so Knight, obviously, no real way to play against this one. Gala is in range of a CC target. That is absolute lights out. But again, my real worry about this is Tarzan used an important cooldown for that point. If we get a fight around this next dragon in a minute or something like that, you're only relying on the stopwatch for this Lillia to give you an extra degree of safety when you're looking for those engages. That might not be enough.
And again, this is a Chempunk soul for JDG if they can get this one. You already see pings coming around the Dragon Pit here from them as well, wanting to try to get some vision there. The Spirit Massage actually completed for Kanavi as well as his second item. And you see a lot of those niche moments, a little bit of those edges being given over, but now it's actually looking at those item spikes that are leaning a little bit in LNG's favor.
I think Kanavi has taken his assignment to be, I'm going to eat Ziggs Qs. Build up some MR, got the Merc Treads, got the Spirit Visage as well. Wants to stop Ruler from eating skill shots like that. Xayah kind of struggles into these long-range artillery mages. You can force the ultimate for not that much. Kanavi, you can see him there. He's just trying to get as many of these skill shots into him as possible. JDG, they're not angling towards this dragon. They don't want that early soul. They'd rather push out the map. And as it stands right now, they do have some vision control to enter the river, but they will be there second.
And LNG, what they really want to do in front of these objectives is get as much poke down as possible. It is a 5v5 that JDG want, but if they can get their health bars down, it'll be a difference.
Angles starting to show themselves again. How slow can LNG take this fight? Missing's been spotted. Knight has not just yet. He'll be spotted. If he walks up towards Scout, JDG, they found their victory here. Can this send them to a finals?
See,
to Worlds.
They can get this one under wraps. It is a heavy stress put onto all 10 players here. It is a soul point for JDG. It's another advantage that they could find for themselves. Mega Inferno Bomb's going to be used. We'll see one tool down. Dragon about half health here, though. They got to be a little bit more careful on how they get this engage. 369's about half health, too. There's more poke coming down from Scout on the edge, but it should be a commitment from JDG. Missing going to go in, tank up so much just so they could get the soul, and that just means that they have a lot more strength coming into the fights as well. You have the Lilting Lullaby available if they want to try to pull the trigger on that one, but they get a ton of poke down in JDG in the end of things.
So it's soul over to JDG, but they can't find the fight.
They're trying to cut them off. I don't know if they can, actually. Tarzan just looking for those swirl scenes on the back end. Ruler's all by himself. That's the Featherstorm used, the Blade Color too. Hung's taking so much. You come at the king, you better not miss, baby, as he takes them down, and JDG respond.
In the LPL, we have one way to measure a bot gap, and it's with a Ruler. He's had some difficult games this series, but in the weirdest of situations, after the Dragon's been finished, LNG over-engaged yet again. The Xayah, with the extra degree of safety, stops the Rell from really being able to land that punch. It's a big mistake from Hung. Ruler always had the ability to get out of that play.
How many times have we seen this happen? You think you get him, but he baits you every time.
I really don't get what LNG are going towards here. Maybe they think that LNG have already completed their recalls, but that is such an overstep. And that could be the play which maybe gives over another Baron.
We saw JDG literally in the game within a couple minutes of taking a Baron last game. We'll see now if they can take this one easily, as LNG are here to try to contest. The Baron's going down a little bit lower. It does go to JDG. LNG are still here. They're going to pull the Lilting Lullaby on the two members. Glacial Prison goes a little bit wide, though. You got to be a little bit careful now for JDG. A poke goes down on a Ruler. He does not have his cooldowns except for Flash, and that just means that Missing is just going to be left out to be carved up into beef patties for LNG. You got 369 on the other side getting engaged on now by the rest of LNG. You got to be a little bit hesitant to continue going forward, as JDG will be taking a ton of damage on the back end of it. And 369 might get that. Oh, he heals so much. Missing goes down to Gala, but it's 369 that stays alive.
LNG, for the life of them, can't find a solid engage onto the grouped up members of JDG. Missing goes down, but no one else bites the dust. So JDG, still advantage for them. They take themselves the soul before this. They take themselves the Baron. They get to reset and once again hem in LNG to their side of the map. LNG, job for them to stay alive, to get themselves to Worlds themselves, to win this finals, is to survive this push and find a pick onto a split JDG team to stop this Baron push again if they can.
They've still got 2 minutes on this Baron buff, though. They will be able to push down so much. Although Hung looking for Knight, Does have Flash, does have the Pop Blossom. That tier 2 will go down to JDG.
Okay, important items which have been picked up right now. Of course, third item for Ruler was that Bloodthirster. Extra sustain will be able to shrug off some of that poke. That's very important. If he gets access to a minion wave, it's going to shoot back up to full HP beyond that point. Baron push in full flight from JDG. They're looking to push in mid and bot lane again, but they can't afford to get picked off like they were in the last Baron push.
They've got about a 3K gold lead, trying to make it some more. They have so much potential with this Baron buff on bottom side. That'll be another tier 2 going down, and JDG starting to take down the structures one by one of LNG.
Tower finally goes down. LNG, they can't find the engage angle right now, and the poke is only hitting the tanks. That's not where they need it. They're not finding the damage onto the right members, and they don't even have any flank wards really to get behind JDG.
They can just get one big engage. They can state this defense going through for them. If they get one big lilting lullaby for Tarzan, could be the difference maker, but the siege is still there. The defense is right as rain. They're able to stop these inhib towers from going down.
You know what, Mazel? I've got a sinking feeling. Maybe a slightly excited one. We are in Game 5 of the LPL Finals, and it might just be coming down to the first Elder Dragon of this. It's 2 minutes.
Go.
LNG, they need to hold on for it. If they can see off the last 20 seconds of this, it could come down to that big objective.
We all know how much the Elder Dragon can influence. It is a game-winning objective, and it's something that LNG are going to have to try to flip over. It is this siege that's coming to an end as the Baron buff falls off JDG.
This is LNG's third Game 5 in this playoffs. One of them was against JDG. Five best of fives, and they have gotten a lot of mileage out of them. 1.5 minutes until the Elder Dragon. We are perilously close to other items being built up again. Knight, if he gets himself a death cap, I don't care how much magic resist you've got. You're going to take so much damage from that, from all rolls. JDG, they got themselves the full push across the map. They get their choice of resets now as well. If they can control vision control, they have double teleports to threaten LNG around what could be the entire split defining objective.
It's one game that's already 32.5 minutes in. A couple more decisions mean you are either a champion or you're going home a loser. And that does mean that the fact that both teams have so much going for them, it is going to be against these 5-on-5 team fights, but I want to talk about style into these fights. We got 50 seconds for the Elder. The setup has to be there with a poke from LNG.
Has to be, but they're entering an area of the map which they've had to clear out inch by inch in terms of vision. They've missed one ward quite deep into their jungle. There's a chance that that comes into play. As the objective spawns, we've got stopwatches, we've got a GA on the side of 369 as well. Everything rests on this fight.
We got those 3 items fight. It's going to be so crucial. You're waiting on a Rabadons right now for Knight, though. See if he can actually get that before the fight does kick off. But LNG are point and present for the most important objective of this entire series.
LNG, they've never been in the finals before this point. Knight has the minion trick again. I think he's been spotted out. It's going to fail. Sejuani ults.
Oh my god, they actually found the engage. Missing tries to go over the wall there as well. They've already gotten Zika down. JDG, that means it's a 4v5 in front of the Elder Dragon.
It's not even a fight which happens in the river. Zika, what a great playoffs he's had, but that's a bad moment for him. Separated from the team, LNG, they have no choice. It's a 4v5 for their lives in the LPL.
We were talking about flipping before this series even happened, but right now it relies on a flip and a dream from LNG. Can Tarzan get in there and be the miracle worker for his team? He can't! He's denied! At JDG, they have the clap of the Elder Dragon wings to ruin LNG's hopes. Oh
JDG, they find themselves the objective fight. LNG, they're scattered to the winds. They try and force a 4v5, but it is not enough.
Oh, the last one goes down. JDG, they're looking for one more clap, and Gala's gone. Ruler, he makes the difference, and JDG are on to the Nexus.
It is so much closer than we would have thought, but JDG, come what may, they will find themselves 3 titles in a row.
They are looking to try and break history. They are looking to put another brick in the golden road. Their mojo is mighty, their touch is golden, and JDG are back champions. As they take the walk of glory, as they take their 3rd consecutive LPL Summer Finals, or at least championship in the LPL. It is nothing but the hard work and dedication of what is our best team in the LPL, making a mark and continuing to build the mojo of this legacy. And as you see them take to the stage, they're going straight to that Silver Dragon Cup.
It could not have been harder fought. It was an Elder Dragon in the 5th game, but now the Silver Dragons are theirs.
See them lift this trophy another time. They are your spring champions. They are your MSI champions. And now they are 2023 LPL summer champions.
It feels